I started my career in 2008. I joined Gurkha Brewery as a development executive. When I joined Bajaj, I think that was a leap of faith I took because I was working as entry level officer, I would say, or senior officer, and then all of a sudden you decide to become a marketing manager where a lot comes on your shoulder.
You choose to ignore.
I love ignoring things, trust me. I filter out things. I filter out things because if I start taking them too hard, then that's not going to help. And end point is those people who are saying this.
Supported by Bookverse, your destination for timeless stories. Civil Mall, 4th floor.
Welcome to Ads Podcast, Didi.
Thank you so much.
And first of all, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
becoming the Director of Marketing at NCELL.
Thank you so much.
I met you, I think almost 15 years, Viola,
Yes.
if I can recall. And we met in Gurkha organization office 15 years ago. And it was something about Pulsar 150 ko naya model, where we wanted to launch some digital campaign for Pulsar,
Yes, I remember that.
right?
Yeah.
So it really feels great for some, looking at your career and looking at what you have done in last 15 years. I feel really, I feel really proud. And it's great to see your career and success. So alikati malai चाहिँ नि अलिक बुझ्न मन लागेको छ because हाम्रो interaction has always been about different projectsहरू होइन mostly workको कुरामा हुन्छ. I always wanted to know that how did it start and how did you start your career, what was your background, how did you navigate यस्तो खालको कुराहरू. So let's start with that on that part.
I started my career in 2008. I joined Gurkha Brewery as a development executive, looking after Jolly and Invenio, which were both not a very big portfolio. And based on that, after a year, I was promoted to trade marketing. But if I go further behind that, I was more of a mass comm graduate, just out of graduation college, back after studies outside the country. And deep down, I used to think I'm not a marketing person, you know. So I was kind of reluctant to take up that role at that time. But through and through, even till date, I give the credit to what I am today, to the grooming they gave me, you know, because it was the 360 approach that I learned from them. After that, 3 years working with them, I moved to Gulcha organization. At that time, Gulcha organization, right now Gulcha Group. I started working as marketing manager for Bajaj. That's where you met me at one point of time. That was the longest inning of my career. I was there for 12 years, working very closely with two-wheeler industry, shaping me into an automobile person, which in a way, somewhere, you know, I did not want to be tagged as one industry specific person. So when I decided to move out, it was in the year 2022 when I joined CG. I joined CG as group CMO, but CG, though it was just a 1 year long tenure for me, it did give me insights into other aspects of business because FMCG and automobile was already in my portfolio. But with 16 verticals which are very diversified, it gave me that challenge, that outlook, that wider perspective to things. Then I moved back to automobile again, but not just two-wheeler, the overall portfolio of MAW as a group CMO. And recent, as you said, I've joined NCELL.
That's amazing, Didi. The type of career path that you have, होइन. अलिकति पहिलाको कुरा तपाईँले जुन भन्नुभयो स्कुलिङ कहाँबाट गर्नुभयो? स्कुलिङ एज इन लाइक तपाईँले यु स्टडिड अब्रड भन्नुभयो नि त, कता पढ्नुभयो?
I studied in Nepal until my ISC. So the surprising aspect
What,
of
ISC?
Yes. So it's not just my career path which has been surprising. It's the choices I've made that has also been quite different. I did my schooling from RIBS. Many might know it. And then I moved on because I wanted to become a doctor, and I somehow loved biology as a subject. So I did my ISc from Biswaniketan. got through my medical entrances. Then all of a sudden there was this, enlightenment that I had that I don't want to run after books. So I decided to do mass communications. Thanks to my family, which was supportive enough, though I'm sure they had regret for a longer time that I chose something else over medical. I went to Delhi for mass comm. When I came back after graduation, that was after Delhi. I did my master's alongside my working profile because I did not want to do a regular college for 2 more years, whereas there was so much excitement around me, there was so much to be done. Because when I started getting the hang of marketing, then I believe it's one of the most addictive thing that you can have in life, and you just don't want to look back.
True. Gurkha Breweryमा पनि तपाईले 3 years जति काम
3 years.
गर्नु पर्यो है त्यहाँ चाहिँ के
I was taking care of the account for, Jolly and Invenio initially. Jolly was about to exit because of certain regulatory as well as the market-specific reasons. And Invenio was a very small portfolio because that was a Carlsberg-owned wine. So after a year, which is usually, the period where you are in your training, your probation, so I was promoted and I was given the responsibility of trade marketing. I believe those 2 years shaped the fact that even today, I feel really inclined towards how the brands are placed, how they are presented. And I do have that material knowledge of identifying things, which generally is problematic for a lot of people. So those 3 years, as I said, out and out, I give the credit to those 3 years to shape me as a professional.
Yeah, exactly. Early companies that you work in really shapes you as a person, as a professional. And I think the leaders that you work with also shapes you.
Yeah, very much.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Kiri, then you moved on to Bajaj, right? And it was
Bajaj.
one of the longest, like you said, innings of your career, no?
Yeah.
So, how was that like? How did entry ko time ma त्यहाँ काम गर्दाखेरि how brand grow गर्दाखेरि I believe when you entered त्यति बेला भर्खर त bike market अझ strong हुँदै आइरहेको थियो, and I think Bajaj has done wonders with I think the product itself and the brand positioning पनि त्यही हिसाबको इन्डियामा पनि त्यस्तै नै थियो, तर I think the same type of activation was also required in Nepal ni at that time. What was the situation?
See,
and
when
toughness?
I joined Bajaj, I think there was a leap of faith I took because I was working as, entry-level officer, I would say, a senior officer. And then all of a sudden, you decide to become a marketing manager where a lot comes on your shoulder. But I would at the same time be thankful to the fact that the support that I got from the leaders in the team, the way they, reinforce the fact that you do what you do. If you make mistakes, we'll learn out of it. And if you do good, we are going in the right direction. So those 12 years, I would say, gave me a better insight on how to lead teams. You might know your work well, but sometimes you might not be a good leader. So having a balance of both the aspects is very important for us as professionals. And I still look up to the way I was shaped in that company because, yes, Bajaj was in the initial stage. Yes, there was a lot of, disruptions that we did. Everything that nobody else was thinking was what we were doing. But I cannot be solely given credit for that, If I came up with the ideas, the management was backing me. Unless they would back me, how would I do the disruptions?
True.
And unless my team would be on the same page with me, how would I deliver?
True.
So the balancing act of leading the teams is something I learned in Bajaj, I would say.
है त्यति बेला आई बिलिभ भनौँ न त्यो टाइममा जब when we met भनौँ त्यति बेला भर्खर फेसबुक
Yeah.
चल्न थालेको थियो अनि we were just starting out as a startup company भनौँ न एक हिसाबले and we were coming up with some digital campaigns and all. त्यति बेला you already had ideas of अलिकति next level कसरी लान सकिन्छ. While everybody were focusing on boosting, you were already thinking of how to program it, how to gamify it, right? If I'm not if I'm म त्यति बेला पिच गरेको नै याद छ क्या मलाई त्यो हुन्छ नि ठाउँमा गएर के ट्रेजर हन्ट जस्तो गर्ने एउटा एप्लिकेसन नै बनाऊ भन्ने खालको कुरा थियो त्यो टाइममा जब ब्रान्ड्स वर नट इभन कन्सिडरिङ डिजिटल मार्केटिङ एज वान अफ द prominent or एटलिस्ट यति अलिकति भए पनि पैसा हालौँ भन्ने खालको पनि थिएन नि त्यो सिचुएसन तर त्यो टाइममा युआर अलरेडी थिङ्किङ अहेड अफ टाइम एन्ड यु नो सर्ट अफ इन्भेस्टिङ एन्ड आई बिलिभ त्यति बेला त्यो एप्लिकेसन लन्च पनि भएको थियो अनि डिफ्रेन्ट अदर क्याम्पेन्सहरू पनि भयो धेरै जस्तो डिजिटल फोकस्ड क्याम्पेन्स वेयर युआर फोकसिङ अन वाइल मेजोरिटी अफ अदर कम्पनीज वेयर फोकसिङ अन त्यति बेला त होइन पत्रिकामा फुल पेज ज्याकेट एड होइन त्यसरी आउने टाइम थियो नि त त्यो सो युभ सिन द like initial phase of digital to like ekdam peak time of ATL marketing pani in a way paper magazines हुन्छ नि अब activations एकदमै धेरै हुने टाइम थियो त्यो तर how do you see this evolution दिदी अहिले त अहिलेको लागि त अब भनौँ न पेपरमा त अब एड दिने चलन नै नभइसक्यो इभन बिग कम्पनीज आर रिलेक्टेड इन गिभिङ एड टु पेपर मिडिया होइन एकदमै अब फोर्सफुल्ली हालिदिउँ न अलिकति भयो भने भन्ने खालको छ मेजर एक्टिभिटिजहरू पनि डिजिटल्ली पनि एकदमै खास भने ओभरअल मार्केट पनि अहिले त्यस्तै छ होइन धेरै मार्केटिङमा हुने इन्भेस्टमेन्ट अलिक कम भइरहेको छ अहिलेको टाइममा हाउ डु यु सी द मार्केट फ्रम देयर टु हियर टु वेयर इट इज गोइङ टाइपको के
See, I remember when I started my career, the fact that you need to have a data on share of voice in terms of your placement in print media and electronic media, that is predominantly TV and radio, used to be the core, right? You used to evaluate your competition to see how much ads they are placing, irrespective whatever the outcome is, because there was no measure to see the outcomes, if you're talking about mass media as such. But thankfully, over the years, we've reached a space where with digital, yes, everything is evolving every day. You have to evolve with time if you want to remain in this market. But with that evolution, life has become much more easier because you have the qualitative analysis in your hand and quantitative as well. You know, because it gives you the flexibility to work. With traditional media, once you have placed something, you place it. There's no going back. With digital, when you place something, you can always try it out, and if you think that you need correction, then you can change your course, you know. So that does give a lot of flexibility to us as marketeers because we are also trying and testing. We might not know everything perfectly. And in fact, every single day is a new day when you're learning as a marketeer because this is one field, trust me, where nothing is repetitive, you know. Everything is different every day. And that scope of flexibility makes life not just easier, but gives better impact as well. Having said that, I would not say, you know, I would not totally agree with the fact that digital is the only thing. What you need to balance is digital, yes, takes away a chunk for us, but reaching on ground level to meet your customers and to understand them, that is equally important. Because, you know, way back, it used to be seller-centric market. If I had a product and if I knew how to pitch my brand, you won the game. You didn't need to do anything except the fact that your supply channel has to be strong and you have to be available in the market.
Available, yeah.
Now that is not the case. There is excess noise in terms of media. Product, there are massive product lines. So you've got to understand your customers one by one. That's where the biggest challenge is because this is a customer-centric market. You've got to understand their psychology. You've got to understand where and how they are going to, you know, react to which aspect of your product and what is going to work well with them. That is the most difficult task at this point because you spend majority of your time trying to understand your customers.
Yeah, I think it has become easier in a way, but it has become challenging in different other ways, right? पहिलाको कन्टेक्स्टमा हेर्ने हो भने कान्तिपुरमा एड गरिदिउँ के अरे इमेज च्यानलमा एड गरिदिउँ यसमा एड गरिदिउँ झ्याप त्यसपछि पेपर मिडियाहरूमा यु क्यान नेम अल द मेजर वान्स होइन त्यति बेला अनलाइन खबर अलिकति धेरै पपुलर थियो सो अनलाइन खबर त्यति बेला सेतो पार्टी रातो पार्टी भन्ने पनि थिएन होइन त्यहाँ गरिदियो अनि त्यसपछि कान्तिपुरमा ज्याकेट एड हानिदियो अनि अरूमा पनि ज्याकेट आयो भने लन्च भनेपछि त एकैचोटि बुम खालको हुन्थ्यो नि त
that used to have impact also no at that point but if you look at
अरू मिडिया नै थिएन नि त त्यति बेला सोशल मिडिया त्यति स्ट्रङ थिएन नि त
सोशल मिडिया त थिएन हैन सोशल मिडियामा त्यति बेला मान्छेले फेसबुकमा बुस्ट गरेर लाइक्स आए पुग्छ भन्थ्यो के
एक्ज्याक्टली
सो फर देम द प्यारामिटर युज टु बी फेसबुक लाइक्स कसको पेजमा कति लाइक्स छ बट द रियालिटी इज क्वाइट डिफरेन्ट फ्रम द्याट नो योर लाइक्स इज नट द डिफाइनिङ ground for whether your activities are going to reach your targeted audience or not. There's a mechanism to it. There's a science to it. There's a whole lot of hard work behind it. which slowly people have started understanding. Many have started, diverting to the unique reach and engagement part, which is the must at this point, irrespective whether even if you have less likes, it doesn't matter. But making that understand even at this
हो
point
त्यति बेला
is
त लाइक्सको
difficult.
होडबाजी नै हुन्थ्यो मलाई जस अरू थाहा भएन पेजमा त लाइक्स चाहियो भने जस्तो अन्त लाइक्स बढाउनलाई आई रिमेम्बर हामीले के गर्थ्यो त्यो टु बी फेसबुकमा नि ब्लक गर्न मिल्थ्यो क्या मतलब फर्स्टमा त्यो एउटा ल्यान्डिङ पेजमा ल्यान्ड गराउने अनि त्यसपछि लाइक गरे के मतलब लाइक गरेपछि मात्र अनि त्यसपछिको
Yeah, you could divert all your campaigns. So even if you were running a trivia, the basic with Facebook was you've got to go to the page, like it, and then only
And
you can
then-
participate in trivia, which is not the dimension now. You don't do that. You
don't
don't
do
actually get to do that.
या या त्यति बेला चाहिँ नि अलि अनि पहिला फेसबुक पनि अलिकति फ्लेक्सिबल थियो एक हिसाबले कि एप्लिकेसन्सहरू हाल्नु मिल्थ्यो अरू अरू कुराहरू गर्नु मिल्थ्यो अहिले पनि फ्लेक्सिबल त नभएको होइन तर कति कुरा चाहिँ अब एकदम रिजिड भइसक्यो कि यो गराउने त्यो नगराउने भन्ने
I
खालको
think that is better, because if you give it a free pass to everything, then regulation becomes difficult.
छ। हो नि
काहीँ न काहीँ रेगुलेसन त चाहियो नि, काहीँ न काहीँ कन्ट्रोल मेकानिजम त चाहियो नि. Even for us to operate as brands, we do need that control mechanism. Otherwise, everything will go haywire. And then they give you the proper KPIs and parameters which defines your ROI, which matters a lot. They will be able to give that only if they have certain parameters
त्यो
in
टाइममा
place.
त्यो टाइममा त अझ के अरे एडभर्टिजमेन्टहरू पनि कहाँ अहिले जस्तो यत्रो ठुल्ठुलो एडभर्टिजमेन्ट आउँथ्यो र फुल स्क्रिन एडभर्टिजमेन्ट न त्यति बेला के स्मार्टफोन नै त्यति थियो होइन साइडमा एउटा सानो आई डोन्ट इभन रिमेम्बर द डाइमेन्सन 100/97 पिक्सल्स हो कि कति थियो सानो एउटा यति आउँथ्यो नि त्यो टेक्स्ट पनि अझ मिलाउनु पर्थ्यो त्यति एडको भरमा चलिरहेको थियो डिजिटल एजेन्सिजहरू
Yeah, I mean, चलिरहेको थियो, and then even games, trivias, whatever you used to do was basically focus on likes rather than the engagement aspect. Now things have changed. People have started understanding better.
या अहिले त आई थिङ्क अहिलेको त बेस्ट पिरियड जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई इन टर्म्स अफ होइन जे गरे पनि मिल्ने
Yeah.
पहिला त एउटा हुन्थ्यो नि हरेक ब्रान्डको एउटा गाइडलाइन भयो अनि त्यसकै वरिपरि स्टिक हुनुपर्ने एउटा एड आए पनि त्यसकै वरिपरि स्टिक हुनुपर्ने खासै धेरै भिडियोजहरूको भिडियो एडभर्टिजमेन्ट गर्नु भनेको एउटा स्ट्रिप आई रिमेम्बर त्यो एउटा सानो गिफ्ट फाइल बनाउनको लागि मात्रै एजेन्सिज युज टु चार्ज लाइक 10,000 होइन मतलब खासै केही पनि थिएन क्या होइन तर पनि त्यो टाइमको सिचुएसन त्यस्तै थियो तर अहिले आई थिङ्क द मार्केट हेज चेन्ज द कस्ट हेज गन डाउन ऱ्यापिडली विथ द इनोभेसन अफ मतलब अहिले एआई आइसकेपछि त ओ माई गड मेरो त ओपेक्स नै घट्ने चान्सेस धेरै छ मलाई त एकदमै सजिलो होला जस्तो लागिरहेछ होइन
No, I would not even say that, Prashay. I would be contradictory about that. Yes, AI is there, has made our life easy, but as rightly somebody told me a few days back, artificial intelligence is driven by actual intelligence. And actual intelligence at any time is required if you want the artificial intelligence to give you the right output.
एक्ज्याक्टली जति राम्रो प्रम्प्ट दिन सक्यो जति आफूले इमेजिन राम्रो गर्न सक्यो त्यस्तो खालको
The more human you are, the better you'll be able to reach, because end of the day, you're dealing with humans.
Yeah.
When I say customer centricity, you are dealing with humans as your customers. So you've got to understand them, right? So the prompts you give has to be human. And
बट इट हेज टेकन अवे अ लट अफ चङ्क अफ वर्क वाट आइम
Yeah,
सेङ
true.
जस्तै अब आजकल जस्तै इफ यु हेभ अ प्रडक्ट यु क्यान जस्ट टेक अ मोबाइलबाट लिएको पिक्चर होइन एन्ड अपलोड इट एन्ड इल गिभ यु लाइक प्रपर
Yeah.
मतलब एड लेभल पिक्चर फुल स्केलेबल पिक्चर्सहरू के एन्ड द्याट एउटा मान्छेले समातिरहेको जस्तो नै गरेर क्या अब त्यो त त्यसको लागि त पहिला भयो त अब एन्ड द्याट पिक्चर एन्ड यु क्यान एनिमेट एन्ड
Yeah.
क्यान पुट भोइस ओभर एन्ड then convert it into
life
an
has
ad,
become easier.
right? So in a way it has also taken a lot of people's job in a way. What do you say?
No, I agree that maybe it has taken some of the redundancy out of the picture. I would not say the crucial roles can go out, because see, using AI driven pictures, since we were talking about pictures, how comfortable is a person, a customer or a marketer himself or herself using AI driven pictures? If you ask me, I'm not. I'm not, because there's a distinct way of identifying it, and I personally feel it doesn't relate to my customer. A mechanical approach to things is not what we are looking at. We are looking at human approach to things. It's emotional intelligence that is required, right? So AI, yes, it has fine-tuned it further. If 1 year back we used to look at AI-driven pictures, they used to be very superficial. Now it has become much more realistic.
Exactly.
In fact, difficult to differentiate between the two, but there's always one element or another which
Thapa
gives you
hailcha.
the indicator.
Thapa
So
hailcha.
if I am to personally say it, I'm not somebody who's very comfortable using AI generated images for my campaigns or AI generated captions because they are very, very mechanical. Somewhere the heart and soul of it is lost. And it's
get
the
it,
heart
yeah.
and soul that is required.
It looks very professional, very well put together, but like you said, I think it needs to have some flaws as well. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The human flaws le garदाखेरि राम्रो हुने हो नि त.
The soul to it
A
is
small,
required.
a small pimple on the cheek would give it more human touch, होइन? Yeah. Maybe you can prompt it out as well.
You can
Put a
actually.
pimple on the cheek भनेर. है या के अरे मैले त्यही भन्न लाग्यो कि अहिले जुन लेभलमा एडभर्टिजमेन्टको प्रडक्सन लेभलबाट नै चेन्ज भइरहेछ होइन, ल्यान्डस्केप नै चेन्ज भइसकेको छ. कसरी चाहिँ नि अब पहिलाको जेनेरेसनबाट अहिले हामी यहाँसम्म आउँदाखेरि वी हेभ सिन इट अल भने कि हामी क्या एज अ मिलेनियल आइएम स्पिकिङ होइन, वी हेभ सिन टिकटिके फोन टु लाइक द स्मार्टेस्ट फोन इन द वर्ल्डको लेभलमा क्या है. सो मार्केटिङ पनि त्यही लेभलबाट चेन्ज भइरहेछ नि त. सो हाउ डु टेक लाइक being adaptive to these technology as a challenge, okay? And how have you been able to being like really adaptive, because it's very easy for us to be in a comfort zone and not take up new challenges, no?
No, I have always believed comfort zone is where I cannot actually perform. So, best for any person comes out when you're in a challenge situation where you have been challenged and you are under massive pressure, So whenever something new comes to the market, a technological change happens, there's this forceful reminder in your mind that you have to adapt to it, otherwise you'll be left behind. That reminder, I think, helps to
You
grow.
always keep yourself
Updated. Yes.
right? मतलब खोजिराख्नु पर्यो,
And I think,
पढिराख्नु पर्यो.
honestly speaking, millennials have been the ones who were able to adapt to it easier than anybody else in this world.
Yeah, true.
This generation has somehow adapted to everything, right from video games to PlayStations.
Right?
We have adapted to everything, right from using, High Five and Orkut
Yeah.
to the Instagram revolution now, because
To
Facebook
Snapchat,
is...
I know.
Yeah, to Snapchat. Because Facebook itself now is becoming phased out.
Yeah.
You are more on Insta than on Facebook. Facebook is there only for the sake of your marketing input, but Instagram has much more power. We have seen it all, but it's open mindset and acceptance to what is happening is more important than anything else, I believe.
Right? What do you like you said, like Facebook is phasing out one way, होइन? What is your favorite platform to be in? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook? Is it
How I wish I
TikTok?
could be, a typical professional saying I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is there only for the projection of my professional life. Yes, important tool. But my favorite has always been Instagram, because you don't have to speak much. What you present is there. That speaks for you. And that is the actual representation of you.
How important is popularity today?
I think popularity comes with your work. I would not be the one running after popularity, because I may be perceived as good by one person. I may be perceived as very tough by another person. And trust me, I face that more than anybody else. But I think my work should speak for me. If I'm doing a good job, irrespective whether you like me as a person or not, you cannot deny me.
I asked this question because you are one of the popular ones in the marketing industry, because you've always been the face of
Yes.
different big companies, from Bajaj to CG to
Yeah.
पछि MAW पनि हैन. So having your personal brand is also equally important, ni?
Yeah.
Right? I think that is one of the key reasons why you've been able to navigate through the different companies as well. So that's why I ask कि कतिको popular हो, Instagramमा popular हुनु important हो कि LinkedInमा popular हुनु important हो दिदी तपाईलाई?
See, if I be very, very honest about it, my Instagram, I am not bothered about how many followers I have. I am very picky and choosy about whom I accept in my Instagram.
You accept also?
Yes, I do.
Hey, okay.
But I'm very picky and choosy, because that's the window to my personal life, which I like being within a circle, I would not like to give a bigger demonstration of my personal life. Professionally, yes, LinkedIn gives me the platform where the professional side of me comes out. But more than that, we live in the world where, the personal relationships make you popular rather than any platform.
And for the companies that you worked with, Vanam, which platform do you prefer for marketing? All of them or
All of them,
है?
out and out.
Full on हल्ला गर्नु पर्यो सबैमा चाहिँ.
It has to be all
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also एउटा I cannot stress the fact more कि being a woman in a marketing industry is kind of a challenge, भनौँ न. And I believe you're one of the inspiration to a lot of people who are coming into the industry. So, how challenging has it been as a woman? Matlab, of course, as a professional, that's there. Challenges are it's same to everybody, but it's always said ni कि केटीहरुको लागि गाह्रो छ भन्ने खालको हुन्छ. Career choice गर्न अझ गाह्रो हुन्छ because this is not something that you can do 10 to 5 and then think matlab you can handle everything else भनेर. अलिक challenging चाहिँ छ. तर how has the journey been with the being a woman navigating through all these?
If you're looking for a feminist angle, I'm not the right person to give any answer there because, coming
You're
from...
not feminist?
I would not say I'm not feminist, but Prashay, the fact is, to talk feminism, you've got to know the pain of it, right? Coming from a family which has given you good education, irrespective whether you are a boy or a girl, who has never differentiated between you and your, brothers while growing up, a family which doesn't give you the rules that you're a girl, so you should come back home on time. That part of me has been very easy. Luckily, I have had that backup from my family. They've supported me for every career choices I've made. Even choosing marketing in a beer company at that time, a lot of people did come up to my mother and say that she's working with a beer company. My mom said, so what? It's a product she's working for.
Wow.
She's not, promoting that, the other aspect that you're putting in, the social aspect of it. It's a product she's working for and it's a work, right? So that part, I think I have been very lucky. As a woman, I understand a lot of people will say that, it is difficult to navigate, especially marketing, because you have to have full commitment to your brand. I've had days when I have worked 24 hours straight up or 36 hours straight up without sleeping on the ground, but that is my work. That is my work and there's no compromise in that aspect. People do have to have that family backing to go forward, and that's where the biggest question mark comes. When I said I am not the right person to talk feminism, I actually don't know the pain that people go through when they are not treated equal at home, when they're not given equal opportunities and they have to struggle to come up. Those
So
are
what you're saying is like you've not karma obviously you've had support,
Yeah.
right? And that's
That's
your
all that's
background and that's the core of the situation. But have you faced such situation in your workplace?
See,
Maybe you didn't face it, maybe okay, but did you face त्यस्तो खालको workplace environment?
I would say it is more on
I'm saying
your-
this because I
I
just
know.
want to clarify. I'm saying this because being a woman and a leader, होइन, and especially when you're giving in भनौँ न orders भन्न मिल्छ कि अब instructions भन्ने मिल्छ नि to men, होइन, अलिकति male ego hurt हुन्छ भनेर भनिन्छ नि त, होइन. So have you faced that kind of situation भन्नु खोजेको क्या मैले?
many of number of times, if I tell you, I have always said, dictionary gives a very generic, neutral definition of attitude. Why is it that the word attitude is always associated with women? If a man leads, he's a leader. If a woman is leading, she's bossy. Of course we'll be bosses. No, we are the bosses. Just because we are leading doesn't mean we are bossy. Just because if you're presentable as a woman, you're showy. If a man is presentable, he's very, very professional and has a good, aesthetics to him. If as a woman you speak your mind, you're too outspoken and rude. If a man speaks, he's no nonsense, he is to the point. This is something you come across every day.
Every day, yeah.
But it's up to you whether you want to take it to heart or you just want to ignore it.
You choose to ignore it.
I love ignoring things, trust me. I filter out things. I filter out things because if I start taking them to heart, then that's not going to help me. And end point is, those people who are saying this, they don't matter to me. What matters to me is my growth, my work, and my family. They are three of these aspects are balanced for me. So whoever wants to say whatever, please be my guest.
Yeah,
You can.
because I've heard that you're very strict. Okay? Because whenever I had interaction with you, I have never felt it.
Yeah.
But maybe with like you said, I know.
No, the fact is, when it comes to work, I don't like messing up with it, irrespective whoever I'm
You don't
dealing with.
compromise with your work.
I don't want to compromise with my work because that's what I'm there for.
Yeah.
You know, it's the priorities in place. Whenever you met me on a very lighter ground, where it's the lighter side of me, which is more of happy one who's lighter and who's joking around and you know intermingling with people. But when it comes to work, there's no compromise.
Yeah, yeah. You obviously, if you're accountable for a lot of things, you're answerable to your management,
Yeah.
right? Then you don't want to compromise with things. You don't want people who sort of take a shortcut or tries to.
There are no
Yeah.
shortcuts to anything actually.
How do you build your team, Didi?
My team is always, I think as leaders in the industry now, it is one of our primary objectives to leave a legacy behind. We have to groom the leaders. We can't be the overpowering bosses, overpowering leaders trying to control our teams. My teams usually have the say in everything that we do, irrespective. I may or may not agree, but if I am not agreeing, I'll give you a valid logic why I'm not agreeing. But if I agree to your idea, I'll give you due credit for what you have done. So I want that balance in my team where they can approach me easily, they can come and talk to me easily. Yes, I'm your boss in office where you have to follow the rules with me, but the moment I step out, that's not how they are treated. I would want to know what's going on in their life so that I can be of help, because it's all about human connection. It cannot be mechanical. We are not robots. We have to understand our teams not just in work but also in the aspect of how they think, what are the aspects that they're looking forward in their life, and I would love to see them grow in life. I've seen few of the people, that those who worked in initial days with me, becoming brand managers, becoming they're marketing managers. It feels good that your people are there.
Yeah.
You can always reach out to them.
True.
They can always reach out to you, and that's what we leave behind for what we are doing today.
True.
Because work is day to day. It's people that you need to touch.
Yeah. I matter of fact, I know a few people who have worked with you and have had very good things to say about you, right? Yes, maybe it was difficult at that moment of time when you were very demanding, and of course you were demanding when things needs to
Work is demanding.
I know work is demanding. Yeah, हाम्रो काम is not as easy as it sounds. तर I think after that phase, उनीहरू अर्को पार्टमा गइसकेपछि, and they realize that had she not said these things to me, maybe I wouldn't be the person I am today भन्ने खालको रियलाइजेसन चाहिँ पछि आउँदो रहेछ.
No, and
काम
that's what I
गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ
think
नि
I've
एकदम
earned,
स्ट्रिक्ट
okay?
है.
That is the biggest earning, irrespective of what you take home, which is your day-to-day work. Earning people is the biggest earning that you can have.
सो अर्को एउटा कुरा चाहिँ, लाइक यु सेड, ग्रुमिङ योर टिम त आफूभन्दा अलिकति जुनियर्सहरू भनौँ न, एजमा पनि एक्सपिरियन्समा पनि जुनियर्स हुन्, तर वेन यु वर्किङ विथ समबडी हु इज अहिलेको टाइममा त नभनौँ, पहिला इनिसियल्ली चाहिँ नि अहिलेको टाइम हामी पनि अलिकति एज यताउता भइसक्यो होइन, तर त्यति बेला चाहिँ इट हाउ बिकज मिलेनियल्सहरूको त्यस्तै होइन, डिफिकल्ट पार्टै थियो कि काम गर्नुपर्ने अलिकति जुनियर्सहरूसँग, अनि डिल गर्नुपर्ने, कन्भिन्स गर्नुपर्ने अलिकति हामीभन्दा सिनियरहरूसँग होइन. सो हाउ डिफिकल्ट वाज इट? त्यो ट्रेडिसनल अप्रोचमा गइरहेको म्यानेजमेन्टलाई योर एनर्जी एन्ड योर न्यू आइडियाजलाई कन्भिन्स गराउन कतिको डिफिकल्ट हुन्थ्यो?
See, when I look at it, I don't know if I've been a luckier one working with people with very open minds, at least in initial 2 companies that groomed me as a professional. I have always learned to speak my mind, irrespective whether the next person is ready to accept it or not. Politely and in a very neutral tone, I'm going to tell what I have to say. And as millennials, I think the biggest struggle we face with the generation older than us is they love micromanaging. They don't want you to use your brains. And my say is, if you don't want me to use my brain, why are you hiring me? Hire somebody who's at a very junior level and is going to do everything that you say. You say right, he walks right. You say left, he goes left. If you tell me to go right when I know left is the right direction,
You'll obviously question.
I'll question. I'll question, and I am not going to be responsible for the outcome after that. Because I'll try to convince you otherwise. If you keep on being adamant about it, then don't question me later on. It's as simple as that. The rules are laid down. With most of the millennials, that is the case. We like working, but we don't like not having the breathing space. You cannot just impose things on people. You've got to ask them what they want to do. You've got to ask their opinion. You've got to accept them. You've got to let them grow where they can actually grow. You can't push them in opposite directions.
Marketing as a subject pani bhanau na in a way demands you not to be like micromanaged. You need
a lot of flexibility.
Flexibility चाहिन्छ नि त. And I face that a lot. Right?
You need a lot of flexibility, and marketing is not just about numbers or the brand building side. Marketing is also about creativity. The creative side of you comes out only when you are not overpowered by things or overwhelmed by work, but you have some time to think. That's when you can build a difference. That's when the disruption actually happens. Because in this world, brands don't need routine treatment. They require disruptions. That happens when you have time to think.
Yeah. Not that the mundane hunne एकदमै सजिलो छ नि त.
Yeah.
Because once you have your strategy right, अनि ल यो स्ट्रक्चरमा जाने यो क्याम्पेन मतलब हाम्रो ब्रान्ड चाहिँ यो डिरेक्सनमा जान्छ भनेपछि त यो रिपिटेटिभ हुने चान्सेस धेरै भइदिन्छ नि त. I think to break that barrier, like you said, alikati flexibility, alikati creative approach, how much of team ko bare ma ta मैले कुरा गरिहालेँ हैन. I think agencies also play a very important role when it comes to marketing. What do you think? How has your interactions or your working rapport been with the agencies that you have worked with?
That probably is coming because you have an agency as well. But see, I have had a mixed basket working with agencies. I work with agencies who are very creative and they're very professional, to the point. They don't come to the meeting room without having adequate data in hand. But then there are agencies who walk into the meeting room with only stories and they want to convince you with the stories. The stories might sound good, but when you step out and you actually start doing it, it will not give you returns. There has to be a rational platform on which you build your ideas, right? So I work with agencies in a very mixed pattern. Yes, evolving has been a major problem with agencies because we have many agencies who did not evolve with time. They were really good, but they did not evolve with time. And now it's too late. It's too late because we have a number of agencies coming up with youngsters who are thinking differently and who are technologically aligned, And that brings a fresh perspective to the brand. So as marketeers, if we need to evolve, agencies also need to evolve.
Exactly. Agencies like you said, there are some traditional agencies who are focused on traditional media नै अहिलेसम्म पनि नै छन् हैन. तर whoever has approached the marketing part differently in a way कि अब digital advertising लाई अलि focus गरेर campaigns पनि त्यसरी नै build गरेर गइरहेछ, and I think they are doing pretty well, I guess. But marketing as a भनौँ न इन्डस्ट्री नै अहिलेको टाइममा जुन पहिला थियो त्यो नभएको जस्तो फिल हुन्छ तपाईँले? Do you feel that marketing industry is growing?
Marketing
evolving, definitely.
See,
growing,
marketing
yes or no?
is the heart of any organization. People need to understand that. Yes, the bigger companies are still growing because they've understood the importance of marketing. But I will not deny at any point that I have also come across people who think, whatever you put into the marketing is expenses. It is spend. It has a return to it. It is investment. But what you need to realize is marketing is not just about market share, it's about mind share as well. Not every activity is linked with revenue. Yes, revenue as much as my responsibility as any other team that works in our company. But a number of times our activities are with a long-term impact where you see the change only after 3 months or 6 months, So if you're very fidgety, you want immediate results, that's not where marketing is going to help you.
Yeah. I think त्यही कुरामा के मार्केटिङ गर्ने भन्ने बित्तिकै अब आज गऱ्यो नेक्स्ट विक खोइ त मेरो सेल्स बढेको भनेर
No,
आइरहन्छ
I've even heard people questioning their teams saying that hoarding board लगायो किन sales आएन. What is the parameter on the basis of which you can say hoarding board लगाएर sales आउँछ?
ओ वाउ यो प्रडक्ट म अहिले अहिले
म अहिले गएर किन्छु त भन्दैन कस्टमरले. It has to repeatedly hammer him for him to go back and buy the product, right? So त्यो thought process change नभएसम्म marketing जस्तो हो त्यस्तै भइरहेको छ कि. The struggle will always be there.
डु यु थिङ्क मार्केटिङ को नलेजको नै कमी छ जस्तो छ दिदी
छ दुईटा एस्पेक्टमा छ होइन एउटा people still think marketing is door to door. They have not realized that marketing is much bigger scope. It has a lot of aspects associated to it. It doesn't work in isolation. It's like a heart. When I say it's heart, all your nerves have to be in place. If you're not connected to the other departments, if you're not understanding the depth of what is going on, then marketing cannot operate in isolation. So that is the reason it's hard, because that is how you project yourself outside. But at the same time, the other aspect which I felt, a year back I was in a college where I was expected to, convince people to take marketing as a field. My question to the management there was, why would you like me to pitch marketing? The answer that came was, people are more into finance or some other field rather than marketing because they think marketing is not stable. And the conversation we were having, that a lot of people say that marketing doesn't have career. I mean, is there no career? Then what are we doing? There is a career.
Of course.
There is a career. You've got to open up to that. In fact, there are more options in marketing than anybody else has ever imagined, because every day you are coming up with new things. आजभन्दा 10 वर्ष अगाडि हामीले टिममा डिजिटल म्यानेजर सोच्थ्यौँ.
एक्ज्याक्टली
आजको दिनमा डिजिटल मार्केटिङ म्यानेजर बिना हामी पर्फर्म गर्न सक्दैनौँ.
दिदी आई हेभ ओपन्ड के अरे भ्याकेन्सी फर टिकटक म्यानेजर्स भने.
Not just that, just think of it, as brands, we need separate individual to take care of influencer management and content creation.
Exactly.
आजभन्दा 10 वर्ष अगाडि त we were not even thinking in that line.
Exactly.
Our agency were giving us creatives, we used to make changes, we used to tell them, okay, good to go, and we used to go forward, right? It is opening so many areas now.
True.
Graphic designing is not just designing anymore, it is heart and soul of marketing, There's so many things that are happening. Probably आजभन्दा 12-15 वर्ष अगाडि corporate communications was a new thing. How a company projects itself was a new thing. How employee branding has to be done was a new thing. Everything has a scope now. So if anybody says that marketing does not have scope, that's lack of knowledge, nothing else.
Exactly. मार्केटिङ बिना कसरी चाहिँ कुनै कम्पनीले आफ्नो सेल्स रेभेन्यू चाहिँ बढाउन सक्छ जस्तो लाग्छ र होइन त.
There's no way. So, how are you going to reach your customers?
Exactly. अनि एउटा अप्रोच छ नि दिदी कि एउटा एड बनाउने होइन, अथवा एउटा डिबिसी बनाउने अनि एउटा एड बनाउने एन्ड देन लाइक क्रेजी ब्लास्ट गरिदिने सबै प्लेटफर्म एन्ड देन वाट आई फिल इज कि वाट आर यु डुइङ डिफ्रेन्ट देन वाट वी युज टु डु 10-15 years ago. हामीले गर्ने भनेको त त्यही टिबिसी बनाउने थियो अनि त्यही एड बनाउने थियो अनि कान्तिपुरमा राख्ने थियो होला अथवा अरू के अरे म्यागजिन्सहरूमा राख्ने थियो होला, टिभीमा बजाउने थियो होला. अहिले फेसबुक छ, फेसबुकमा पनि त्यही चिज बजाएर अनि ब्लास्ट गरिदिने भयो त. इट्स द सेम अप्रोच. बट वेन युर डुइङ लाइक सोसियल मिडिया भने त इट हेज टु ह्याभ अ डिफ्रेन्ट काइन्ड अफ अप्रोच. डिमान्डिङ पनि छ. सो एभ्री अदर कन्टेन्ट निड्स टु ह्याभ डिफ्रेन्ट भनौँ न आइडियाज एन्ड कन्टेन्ट क्रिएसनमा पनि लाइक यु सेड अहिले जुन लेभलमा मान्छेहरू आइरहेको छन्, इन्फ्लुएन्सर्स नाम चाहिँ इन्फ्लुएन्सर्स हो होइन, तर लेट्स जम्प इन्टु लिटल बिट इन्टु इन्फ्लुएन्सर पनि. तर जुन हिसाबले अहिले इभल्भ भइसकेको छ, आई थिङ्क ब्रान्ड्स रियली निड टु कम अप विथ क्रेजी डिफ्रेन्ट न्यू आइडियाज एभ्री सिङ्गल डे टु बी अन द टप अफ द माइन्ड. बिकज अहिले लाइक यु सेड इट्स नट जस्ट अबाउट मार्केट सेयर, इट्स अल्सो अबाउट माइन्ड सेयर. नो सो दिनको मैले अब 1000वटा भिडियो हेर्छु होला आजकल. पहिला के अरे हार्डली 10वटा हेरिन्थ्यो होला भने थियो. अहिले त एभ्री स्क्रोल हेज अ न्यू भिडियो भने त टु बी इन द्याट माइन्ड सेयर त यु हेभ टु बी रियली गुड एन्ड रियली डिफ्रेन्ट एन्ड रियली इन्फर्मेटिभ. द्याट्स अ च्यालेन्ज द्याट एभ्रीबडी अल द ब्रान्ड्स आर फेसिङ. एन्ड स्टिल झन् पहिला जति इन्भेस्ट गर्थ्यो ब्रान्डहरूले मार्केटिङमा, डोन्ट यु थिङ्क द्याट अहिले झन् धेरै खर्च गर्नुपर्छ?
Actually, you have to.
होइन?
Because if you have to be at the top of your game, you have to be visible. You can't say that, I don't want to invest in marketing, but I want all the top of mind and I want mind share. That's not going to happen. And with so many products in the market, getting the space is also becoming difficult. Irrespective, even social media promotions, ma'am, I don't know. Since you were focusing on influencers, what I've always felt is the distinct differentiation of influencers is lacking in this country. The same person is promoting rice, same person is promoting, cement, same person is promoting automobile, same person is promoting some other aspect. The distinct personality and the product association is where the biggest challenge is, because we are running out of options.
धेरै क्रिएटर्सहरू पनि छैन नि त मार्केटमा. अब सबैको रिच अब आई थिङ्क इम्प्रेसन्स वाइज मात्रै हेरिरहेछन् कि क्वान्टिटी वाइज मात्रै हेरिरहेछन् रादर देन द क्वालिटी अफ
एस्पेक्ट
होइन. सो त्यो भएर पनि हो. प्लस अब अहिले रेगुलेटेड पनि छैन एक त होइन. आई थिङ्क द्याट निड्स टु बी रेगुलेटेड अ लिटल बिट. अनि त्यो भएपछि चाहिँ अलिकति सिस्टमेटिक हुँदै आउँछ होला. आई डोन्ट नो द इफ देयर आर एजेन्सिज हु आर वर्किङ अन द्याट एस्पेक्ट. नेपाल मार्केटिङ एसोसिएसनको बारेमा अलिकति कुरा गरौँ न. इज नेपाल मार्केटिङ एसोसिएसन ट्राइङ टु रेगुलेट यस्तो खालको क्रिएटर मार्केटको एस्पेक्टहरू पनि?
I would not go there with NMA right now, because NMA is still in its initial phases. Yes, NMA aims to become one of the strongest bodies when it comes to advocacy about marketing and brand. But initial 3 years, okay, Amri, this is the 3rd year running. Or rather 3 years complete by now. We are into the 4th year. So this is the time when you are more towards building up the industry in terms of knowledge gain, rather than getting straight away into the policies. Because policies requires a lot of lobbying, a lot of understanding, a lot of establishment, which is where we see NMA in future. But still some time to reach there, because we all are associated with our full-time job. Everybody who's in NMA, whether the board or those outside board, we have to deliver at our workplaces. So NMA operates more on the timings that we give after office. So tyo bhaisakyepachi automatically you can't just focus on NMA, And yes, we have to reach there, but it is going to take longer than required because of this aspect.
What does NMA focuses on? Because I'm not a part of NMA.
You can always be a part of NMA. That's not a problem. Okay. NMA right now focuses at talent build-up. In the sense, what is the requirement of the marketeers? Because this is the association for marketeers. We believe in quality over quantity. That is the reason you'll never hear that NMA has some 500 members or 600 members. You'll never hear that, because we filter it out very, very strictly. But what we want is the opinion leaders should be the part of NMA, especially the opinion leaders of marketing, who can actually shape the future of marketing, in terms of giving adequate knowledge transfer. In terms, what does the marketing requires at this point? Say 15 days to 1 month back, we did AI Summit. This was long in the making. It took the longest time ever to do any event to us, because all of us were too occupied with our work.
Of course.
But AI is the necessity. And the fact that a lot of people have this strange feeling about AI, that AI is going to take away my job. AI मलाई चलाउन आउँदैन, मैले कसरी गर्ने? For them, AI is just ChatGPT. The world starts at ChatGPT and ends at ChatGPT, or maybe a couple of other AI platforms. So we wanted them to have a very clear knowledge, for which we outsourced people from outside the country, because they have more exposure than people here. I mean, people here probably would be talking AI as much as I'm talking right now. Those who have hold on the subject. Those who don't have, they probably don't even understand it beyond ChatGPT. Whereas people don't even realize that ChatGPT has a disclaimer that we might be wrong. We are not always correct. We are not always grammatically correct. We are not humanized. There's a disclaimer. People think ChatGPT is God. ChatGPT said this. ChatGPT can say anything based on your prompt.
Yeah. You can make it say anything.
So that realization was what we wanted the upcoming marketeers to understand, because they have to work more with this than people like us who are sitting there to just look into the overview.
Yeah, if there's anything you can say about being adaptive to the changing evolution one, I think AI is something that we have to
accept it.
Yeah, we have to accept it, incorporate it, and I think AI ले गर्दाखेरि एकदम धेरै leverage लिन सकिन्छ क्या. As marketeers, हामीलाई त मतलब त्यो त हाम्रो लागि चाहिँ गड हो जस्तो लाग्छ है मलाई चाहिँ
Information bank for us.
होइन मतलब केही चिज गर्नु पऱ्यो भने इनफ्याक्ट द क्वेसन द्याट आई प्रोबल के अरे यो प्रिपेयर्ड पनि एकचोटि एउटा एउटा आउटलाइन दिइसकेपछि उसले इल गिभ यु लाइक एक्ज्याक्ट क्वेसन्स एन्ड विल ब्रेक
You
इट डाउन
ChatGPT it.
you ChatGPT it. So यस्तो unless you give it a good prompt, it will not structure it as well. No, you cannot just say I am going to a podcast. I need questions. भनेर त आउनेवाला छैन नि त. You need specific information that you need to give it to ChatGPT in your own language. But it has also मैले रियलाइज गरेको अस्ति भर्खर पनि यहाँ टिममा कुरा भएर चाहिँ प्रपोजल्सहरू बनाउँदाखेरि पनि ChatGPTहरू युज गर्ने बानी भएर गइरहेछ अहिले होइन. के भएछ उनीहरू के अरे मेरो यहाँ टिमको बहिनीहरूको चाहिँ एक्जाम रहेछ कलेजमा लेख्नै आएन अरे के बुझ्नु होइन ChatGPTलाई प्रम्प्ट दिए जस्तो एन्सर लेखेर आउनु पऱ्यो मैले भने जस्तो क्या. डु यु थिङ्क द्याट एआई हेज अल्सो चेन्ज द वे वी आर राइटिङ एज वेल बिकज हाम्रो त अब लेख्ने पढ्ने बानी नै नगएको छ कि प्रम्प्टै हान्ने बानी भए जस्तो.
एक जमानामा हामीले एक्जाम दिँदाखेरि हामी राम्रो ह्यान्ड राइटिङमा लेख्थ्यौँ. अहिले लेख्दाखेरि I often feel that what's wrong with me. अलिकति लेख्नु पऱ्यो भने you start having pain in your hand. That is the same thing with AI, With ChatGPT prompts, the short to the point prompts is what you're giving. And when you have to actually put your thoughts into a frame and speak out, then you become very crisp. You become very, very mechanical. For that one reason, yes, I am adapted to most of the AI tools, but I don't make them my norm. I would not write my emails on ChatGPT. I would not write my proposals on ChatGPT or the presentations on ChatGPT. In fact, I would never use Canva to make my presentations because I still like creating those graphics and structures. आफैले के मलाई त्यो अड्याप्ट गरेर त्यो flairful presentation भन्दा पनि something which is to the point and creative is important. And that is the reason I think I've been able to be impromptu so far. But the day I start getting adapted to it, like it is my lifeline, then probably I will not be able to answer your questions also. It'll become very crisp.
है लाइक यु सेड पिपिटीहरू बनाउँदाखेरि पनि even though it has a little bit of flaws here and there, अलिकति stretched here and there, it shows that you put in that effort. But if you see a PPT that's very matlab perfect, you feel like you just ChatGPT'd it. That's the feel on there.
And no, also the fact, Prashay, what I personally feel is my presentations are just a representation of what I'm speaking. I'll have the flow of my say, my subject, if I'm the one who's making it. If it's made mechanically, I'll be lapsing out.
Or authenticity pani haraunu sakcha.
Yes.
Because you won't be able to speak just the way you wrote it pani ni from ChatGPT. हैन थाहा भइहाल्छ त्यो चाहिँ नि authenticity छ कि छैन भनेर. अहिले evolution चाहिँ नि अब next level गइसकेको छ अहिले. Like you said, यो इन्फ्लुएन्सरहरुमा पनि अब के रे कन्टेन्टहरु क्रिएट गर्दाखेरि पनि सबै ChatGPT गर्छ नि आजकल. मतलब स्क्रिप्टहरु पनि लेख्न मिल्छ के.
I know. I know, and my biggest struggle with the content creators or anybody who deals with them as an agency is come with real life content. Don't come up with fabricated content because every person has a personality. Every person can actually do justice to the brand without making it very superficial. It's day in, day out. It's a brand because it's a part of your life. Incorporate it.
मैले एउटा टिकटक भिडियो हेरेको थिएँ होइन त्यसमा चाहिँ नि वी वर टट ब्रान्ड स्ट्राटेजी बट वी वर नट टट एक्जिक्युसन अरे के होइन वी वर टट हाउ टु के अरे वाट इज मार्केटिङ बट वी वर नट टट हाउ टु डु स्टोरी टेलिङ रे मतलब
मार्केटिङ इज अल अबाउट स्टोरी टेलिङ ट्रस्ट मी इफ यु डोन्ट नो स्टोरी टेलिङ यु डोन्ट नो मार्केटिङ है
त्यो स्टोरी बिल्डअप गर्न सक्नु त्यो त्यस्तो खालको हाम्रो त कहिले पनि कोर्समा हुँदैन नि त स्टोरी टेलिङ इज सच एउटा है
इम्पोर्टेन्ट एस्पेक्ट अफ आवर लाइफ्स
या सो मेक्स मी वन्डर लाइक म यहाँ यता एड्स एकाडेमी पनि गरिरहेको छु नि मैले सो मेबी स्टोरी टेलिङको पनि एउटा म त्यो कोर्स बनाउँछु जस्तो लाग्यो अहिले दिमागमा आएको मलाई
आई थिङ्क स्टोरी टेलिङ फर अस हेज बिन इनबिल्ट over the years when you've been working, you've been exposed to a lot of things. lot of people. One part of our job calls for meeting different people, and every time you meet somebody, you take away something from that person, irrespective whether you like the person or not. Good or bad, you take away with you, right? And that, in a way, unconsciously defines your behavior as well. So storytelling becomes a part of our life because all those experiences are accumulating at one place, and they give you perspective to what you want to say next.
Whenever you work with agency दिदी के अरे यो स्टोरी टेलिङ कतिको आउँछ दिदी पिचिङ or is it about like I'll make so and so content भनेर जस्तो हुन्छ कि
See, you can come and tell me any stories you want. It depends what I'm going to take from you. That's where I filter. What is my objective and what I want from you? That's something I'm going to take out no matter what, irrespective of the stories. Because the stories don't execute themselves. You've got to have, stories are good. They sound really good. But you've got to have a proper plan in action. You've got to have a proper framework in mind, and you've got to convince me. And the results will be based not just on that plan of action, but the fact that you've given me a very rosy picture.
Because again तपाईँले भन्नुभएको थियो नि आउँछन् अनि then they'll give you a good story but no execution plan भयो भने is something that turns you off, right?
It turns anyone off, I believe, and there have been times when I have to take things into my hand and, get to it on my own. But you actually don't have time for that. You don't want to do that. That's the reason you have agencies, because they are your partners. They're not just agencies, they are your business associates. You work hand in hand. It's not like, you're client, I'm agency. That's not how it works.
Yeah, coming to that, lot of companies think that होइन एजेन्सी हायर गर्नु भन्दा त इन हाउस नै एउटा म ग्राफिक डिजाइनर राख्छु, एउटा भिडियोग्राफर राख्छु, होइन म आफै गर्छु नि भन्ने खालको एउटा थट प्रोसेस पनि छ होइन त्यसमा what do you have to say about it?
See, I have had graphic designers in my team as well. But my graphic designers, the team members that I have, their job is to cut down on the time lapse that we have with the agency, because if I have to make the smallest adaptation, I have to reach out to the agency client servicing has to go to the graphic designer makes the changes based on the queue of work he has. By the time it comes to me, it's, hours of lapses. Whereas if I have in-house graphic designer, those minor changes will not take me time. That increases my efficiency. Having said that, I would not say that, they are the ones who make the key creatives for me. Because they are so much influenced by the internal structure of the company that thinking out of the box or coming up with a creative angle is something I actually don't expect from them. Yes, they do surprise you at times, coming up with better designs than your agency also. I've been surprised in the past. But that is one-off case, You cannot replace the whole ecosystem with that.
So you still feel that agency एकदम required नै छ?
Required tha. I mean,
if you want
for
to,
me, I'm always in office or I'm meeting people, I'm dealing with so many things. That's the same thing with my team, right? Irrespective whichever position they work for, they have their defined responsibilities. Are they the ones who will be able to go and find out in the market what the customer is saying? What is their pain point? What actually is the way to sort it out? How to creatively approach it? How to place the brand where? I need people to do that, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's where the partnership between the agency and brand comes in. So that is important.
त्यही त लाइक यु सेड एउटा एजेन्सीले चाहिँ राम्रोसँग एउटा स्ट्राटेजी पिच गरेर अगाडि बढिसकेपछि एउटा की क्रिएटिभ बनाइसकेपछि चाहिँ बरु इन्टर्नल टिमले चाहिँ त्यसलाई एडाप्ट गर्ने चाँडै जो इफिसियन्सी बढाउनको लागि चाहिँ इन्टर्नल टिम हुनुपर्छ बट टु कम अप विथ डिफ्रेन्ट क्रिएटिभ आइडियाज एन्ड मार्केट एक्सप्लोर गरेर डिफ्रेन्ट भनौँ न अप्सन्सहरू दिनको लागि त एउटा एजेन्सीले अझ बेटर गर्न सक्छ बिकज टिम कम्पनीभित्र भनेको त सबैजना लाइक यु सेड लाइक आफ्नै कम्पनीभित्रको इकोसिस्टमले नै कन्ज्युम गरेकोलाई त त्यो बक्सभन्दा बाहिर निस्किन अलिकति गाह्रो हुनसक्छ एउटा के अरे कुनै पनि भनौँ क्रिएटिभ फिल्डमा भएको मान्छेलाई पनि मुभिङ फरवर्ड विथ द मार्केटिङ के भन्छ र ब्रान्डिङको एउटा यो इकोसिस्टममा होइन वाट यु फिल लाइक कि अर्को इन नेक्स्ट 10 years टाइममा चाहिँ नि कहाँतिर चाहिँ हामी गइरहेछौँ अहिले लाइक ए साइड के अरे अहिलेको टाइममा धेरैवटा एजेन्सीहरू बन्द भइरहेछ दिदी इन अ वे धेरैवटा कम्पनीहरूले आफ्नो मार्केटिङ बजेट्सहरू पनि कट डाउन गरिरहेछन् होइन लाइक अघि भर्खर हामीले कुरा गरेर जस्तै इन हाउस नै मान्छे राखेर काम पनि गरिरहेछन् अनि आफैले पनि सिकेर क्या अहिले त झन् सजिलो भएको छ भन्छ होइन अनि च्याट जिपिटी आफैले गरिरहेछन् होइन अब यसो हेर्दाखेरि त द ट्रेजेक्टरी फर मार्केटिङ सबै मार्केटर्सहरूले आफैले नै सिकेर आफैले नै गर्न थाल्यो भने त एजेन्सीहरू क्रिएटिभ पिपलहरूको एउटा चङ्क अफ भनौँ न जब नै जाने जस्तो पनि देखिन्छ इन अ वे होइन इफ अल द मार्केटर्स कम एन्ड डु देयर जब्स देमसेल्भ्स So where do you think the situation is going? I have a different approach to it, but this is the situation भन्नु खोजेको what people are feeling and thinking.
No, see, globally, yes, marketing will become the lifeline for any company. It is already very strong and it is getting stronger by the day. Nepalको context ma there are a lot of regulatory issues. Okay? कुनै पनि brand को sector, since I've been in FMCG, I've been in automobile, I've been in the diversified portfolio, I know every single industry has something or another which comes as a pain point why they are not able to invest or why they are not able to grow. Because a lot of things are made difficult in our external environmental ecosystem in this country, you know. जबसम्म त्यो simplify हुँदैन, I don't think things are going to get better. Because it is not just, you know, end of the day when advertising agencies sustain and when the brands put in money for advertising, it's not just revenue for the advertising agency, but it is revenue for the country as well. You are giving employment, you are stopping people from leaving this country. I think there'll be a time with the pace we are moving on, the biggest fear factor is there'll be a time when the median age in this country will become very old. We'll lose all the youth. The reason they are not convinced to stay in this country is because they don't see any prospect of doing well in the country, you know. And marketing is one of the fields where we suffer the most because finding a person is, you know, finding a needle in a haystack. It takes you months and months and months to find the right resource which is going to fit your requirement. त्यो भइराख्यो भने त न मान्छे हुन्छ न रिसोर्सेस हुन्छ सो ग्रो कसरी हुन्छ हामी
इन अ वे नयाँ जेनेरेसनले पनि सोचिसक्यो कि नेपालमा बसेर के हुँदैन अब बाहिर जाउँ भने जस्तो पनि भइरहेछ कि
नो आई थिङ्क नयाँ जेनेरेसनले सोच्नुमा काहीँ न काहीँ इन्फ्लुएन्स पुरानै जेनेरेसनको बिकज दे काइन्ड अफ लाइक ग्रुम देयर किड्स दिज डेज अब 12 क्लास सिद्धाएपछि त तिमी बाहिरै जाने हो बाहिर गएपछि फर्किनु पर्दैन नेपालमा केही हुँदैन दिस इज द ग्रुमिङ द्याट दे आर गिभन यु नो एन्ड
भइ पनि रहेछ नि त खास
I would not say that, Prashay. You know, if we think like that, yes, maybe 15 years back the scenario was a little less alarming than this. But then also people were leaving this country, right? I remember I don't have any of my school friends or college friends in this country because all of them are either, you know, settled in the US or Australia. त्यति बेला पनि थियो. If we had opted to stay away, will you be the Prashay you are or will I be the person I am? We decided to stay in this country to do something different, right?
Of course.
And we've been able to, you know, create that difference. Thankfully, at least at this point, we can say that we are contributing somewhere, right? सबैले त्यसरी सोच्ने हो भने त एन्ड अपर्च्युनिटी त छैन भन्न मिल्दैन होइन भएको अपर्च्युनिटीलाई क्यास इन गर्न सक्नु पऱ्यो कि छैन यस abundance of opportunities छैन तर भएको अपर्च्युनिटीलाई जब मान्छेले एक्सेप्ट गर्न थाल्छ अपर्च्युनिटिज आफै बिल्डअप पनि हुन थाल्छ कि
आई थिङ्क जुन लेभलको मेहनत चाहिन्छ नि कुनै पनि कम्पनीमा काम गर्नको लागि अथवा कुनै पनि इन्डस्ट्रीमा ग्रो हुनको लागि बी इट मार्केटिङ अर बी इट एनी अदर फिल्ड होइन अहिलेको टाइममा त्यो लेभलको पेसेन्स पनि नभएको जस्तो फिल हुन्छ क्या मलाई स्पेसली द यङ वान्स द्याट आई फिल that I see.
Often I come across manpower who works for me for two years and then says that, you know, my plan was to go abroad. Now I've gained the experience so that I don't have to do smaller work when I go. But now I plan to go abroad. Or I come across team members, irrespective male or female, who would want to get married to a person who has a PR or a green card.
They're staying here just because they couldn't go out there.
Until they get the alternate.
होइन त्यो पायो भने चान्स पायो भने चाहिँ नि बाहिरै जाउँ जस्तो गर्ने कि तर मेहनत गर्नु त बाहिर गर्नु नि त्यति नै हो
यहाँभन्दा धेरै हो थाहा छ खासमा बिकज अफन वेन वी ट्राभल होइन वी माइट हेभ डिसाइडेड टु स्टे इन दिस कन्ट्री यस वी आर वर्किङ हार्ड बट वेन वी ट्राभल do we see life easy for all the Nepali who are working over there?
No, very few.
Do we see they have a very happy life? You know, what you see on social media is the projected life. The reality is quite different.
Differently.
What you see is they are partying, they are going on holidays, they are having a whole lot of fun. But the hard work that is there to earn that much to be able to invest is much bigger than what we are doing at this point.
रिसेन्टली मैले एउटा इन्स्टाग्राम भिडियो पनि देखेको थिएँ त्यसमा चाहिँ के अरे नेपालमा चाहिँ नि टोइलेट सफा गर्नु इज अ लाज बट त्यही चिज बाहिर गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ
It's a pride?
इट्स अ प्राइड त नभनौँ तर दे डोन्ट माइन्ड भन्ने खालको
They don't mind. I mean,
अनि द रिप्लाई वाज कि त्यसमा मलाई टोइलेट सफा गर्नलाई 2 लाख रुपियाँ दियो नि म के सफा गरिदिइहाल्छु नि होइन खालको थियो कि
होइन त्यो सोचो होइन why don't you work in your country and work hard enough to reach where you can earn 2 lakhs rupees?
या एक्ज्याक्टली
Work hard. It doesn't come served in a tray, no? It never came served easily, or it was not fed to us on spoon. You've got to work for that. It doesn't happen overnight, because I often come across students from MBA colleges who have this big misconception that my first job should be manager level and I should be paid very high. What do you know about marketing? What I've read on books. Do we follow the principles of the books? That's a big no. What we do is real life.
या
Because if that was the case, I would not be a marketeer.
या
I would not be a marketeer because I did not pass out from my MBA college. I did not actually do BBA. I'm a mass comm graduate. I'm a mass comm master's. If that was the reason to shape you as a marketeer,
नो
those principles just give you the heads up as to where you should be guiding yourself towards thinking. But just because you have passed from a very high profile college and your MBA from that college doesn't give you the free pass to become a team manager immediately and earn in big numbers. You've got to work hard for that.
I think you should start early as well.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I started when I was barely 20. So.
या एक्ज्याक्टली सो यहाँ पनि मैले हायर गर्नु खोज्दाखेरि आई युजली हायर इन्टर्न्स फर्स्ट क्या सो पढिरहेको बेला पनि अरू फ्लेक्सिबल भइदिने बरु अलिक ढिला हो नो प्रब्लम बट स्टार्ट अर्ली
सिकिन्छ भने बेटर भन्छु कि म त्यति बेला किनभने एज यु एज you stop accepting a lot of things because you have too much in your own head. You're not open and receptive. Okay? Early age, by the way you are shaped, you carry forward like that. Okay? So, त्यो पनि important हो क्या अब
त्यही भने सो द्याट्स आई थिङ्क आवर मेसेज फर टुडे कि यङ मान्छेहरूलाई चाहिँ जो whoever is thinking of going abroad, they should definitely consider a career in marketing, and we are definitely in need of good marketers in the industry, right?
Trust me.
Right? So we are really open to like training, internship, any opportunity you can reach out to us, and then we'll get
Yes,
things
because
done
see, most of the
somehow.
organizations at this point do have internship cells. They do give opportunity for people to be interns and learn. But कतिसम्म सिक्ने पनि dependent छ के just to have that name on your resume if you want to do that.
Probably not the right idea. I think the learning attitude approach pani
Our teaching structure also needs to change, Our teaching structure needs to change because it cannot be only 2 months of internship just to pass the exam. You learn and you work. It has to be like that. Because practical aspect त completely miss out गरिरहेछौँ नि हामीले just theoretical aspect पढाइरहेछौँ कि त्यो पनि थ्योरी कुन बेलाको पढाइरहेछौँ भने जुन बेला वर्ल्ड वाज कम्प्लिटली डिफ्रेन्ट यो बेलाको थ्योरी सायद पुगिसकेको पनि छैन कि द्याट इज द रिजन मोस्टली दोज कलेजेस हु आर अ लिटल स्ट्यान्ड आउट दे गेट वर्किङ प्रोफेसनल्स टु come as guest lecturers or experience sharing part गराइरहेको हुन्छ कि उनीहरूले किनभने practical aspect to life is completely different from the books that we are reading. So त्यो एउटा aspect चाहिँ probably someday we will have that. But that is one of the most important aspects that I see, especially in terms of marketing.
आजकल जाँच पास गर्नलाई पनि च्याट जिपिटी नै युज गरेर छन् सो अलिकति गाह्रो छ यो पार्ट चाहिँ होइन सो
गर्दैन नि
त्यही भएर अलि प्र्याक्टिकल नलेज होइन अलि मेहनत अलि लर्निङ एटिट्युड लिएर आयो भने चाहिँ नि आई थिङ्क नेपालमा पनि यही इन्डस्ट्रीमा एकदम राम्रो गर्न सकिन्छ
We've seen success stories, right? We've seen people growing. If they have worked hard and they have the open attitude to learn, they are open for constructive criticism, they will grow.
Exactly. On that note, thank you so much for doing this.
Fine.
2 years overdue, but but we finally did it, and I really hope that whoever is listening to us or watching us feels inspired by your story and the career progression that you have had, and obviously hope for them to choose marketing as a career path, because see where you can land, right?
see where you can land when you're not even thinking that you're a marketeer.
Hmm.
That was a complete diversion
Exactly.
that I had taken in my
Exactly.
life.
It was sheer hard work and, you know,
There's no
dedication.
excuse to hard work.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dee, for doing this.
Pleasure's always mine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dee. So, on the final note, मलाई चाहिँ नि हाम्रो sponsors छन् मेरो. So, they want to give you a few things.
All right.
So, this is, I don't know how much of a book reader are you?
I am avid reader, but you'll be surprised to know my choices when it comes to books and movies.
What kind of books do you like? Dee?
As a professional, I might have one picture, but as a personal aspect of my life, I still love fiction.
Eh, ho ra?
I love fairy tales and Disney World.
I don't know if we have kept. I didn't know that, but maybe there's some fairy tales here.
No. I'm sure that there are no fairy tales, but that is one aspect of mine that,
okay.
it's very difficult
Hey,
for
you
people to
like-
relate to.
Eh,
But I always find that world much more happier, and I
okay.
love reading and watching.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind if there's यसमा यदि त्यस्तो खालको book छ कि
Fiction,
छैन
of
चाहिँ
course,
त्यहाँ-
is there, no? Thank you so much.
अलिकति rich.
I'll have to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is from Bookverse.
Yeah.
So उनीहरूको स्टोर चाहिँ नि यता के अरे सिभिल मलमा छ. So if you have time at some point of your
Yeah.
busy schedule भने तपाईँ जानु होला अनि
Sure. I have
apply.
heard about Bookverse. In
Yeah.
fact, thank you so much for the books because I love reading. So I am certainly going to go through them.
So I recently partnered with Media 9.
Yeah.
So they've sent you some
Magazines.
recent ones.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
this is from DPS. यो चाहिँ हाम्रो एउटा small token of love पनि हो अनि mug पनि हो.
Thank you so much.
So it's the coffee that के अरे यो mug that you're drinking in.
Yeah.
So यो चाहिँ हाम्रो recent brand change भएको छ black and white मा.
From Red, as far as I
From
know.
yeah पहिला त्यस्तो थियो अनि it was ads market before, so the whole thing has spin off to ads digital भनेर
Yeah.
भएको छ दिदी अहिले चाहिँ.
Moving on with the change.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dee, for doing this. And I hope I can do this again in probably soon. Bhannu parla didi. Not after 2 years, I hope.
When the right time comes.
Right. Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you. Thank you so much.